I wish they would call me, to live again these experiences, to be in the playing court in full arena. If you two don't choose the same player as me, that means you don't know anything about handball.
Is Szeged good enough to beat Barcelona?
She will be over the 165 goals this season.
Ball across to Dylan Nahi, double in flight. Oh, what a start!
Into the net.
She does it again. Yes.
And Magdeburg are the champions of Europe. To come up with something here. She has a game. Across the keeper. What a comeback!
And then finally it is time to talk handball again, everybody. We are midway through the Machineseeker EHF Champions League, and what a time to be alive, what a time to talk handball again, and what an excellent crew I have around me yet again. On the one hand side, we have 1 meter and 96 of pure excellence. He is a walking handball dictionary. And handball knowledge has a name, and it's called Martin Vilstrup. How's it going?
That's the best one so far, Bengt. I think best of many. I'm good. Looking forward to the weekend coming up, to be honest. But the highlight of the week can always be talking handball with you, Bengt, and then our Spanish guy joining in as well.
Yeah, because next to the 1 meter 96 of pure handball excellence, we have 1 meter 50 of pure class, 721 Champions League goals, and 3 times Champions League winner, ladies and gentlemen. Victor Tomas, how's it going?
Good. Actually, listening on how you define me, it's even more difficult that I did what I did with 150. So yeah. I'm actually quite happy. Imagine if I would be 196 of pure excellence. That would be then wow, top.
You would have been a menace to the handball world. That is for sure. Even more than you already are. Maybe he
even though I managed to kick both of your asses by myself when I was sick.
Well, we don't need to talk about that.
But
so
I didn't want to bring this up, but you just made me, Bengt.
Fair enough. But I mean, I've been talking about your 721 Champions League goals here as well. Do you remember your very first one?
Yes, it was in the playing court of Vardar, the old one.
Mm-hmm.
In 2000, not sure if it was 2002 or 2003, but around there in Skopje for sure.
Not too bad. It was 2003, and actually just in 2 weeks' time, it will turn 21 years old, that goal. So, first goal was against Vardar Skopje, 16th of November, and you started off with a brace, so you scored 2 goals in your first matchup where you actually ended up scoring. Is there a most meaningful goal to you among those 721 goals?
Well, there is one that I remember a lot. It was in the quarterfinals against Rhein-Neckar Löwen at Palau Blaugrana. We lost by 7 in Germany. The first game, So coming back to Palau, it was really hard for us to manage to come back, and around minute 20-ish, I was able to score from 9 meters. Uwe was pushing me, and then I shoot from 9 meters, almost going down, and the ball hit to the post, went to the leg of Landin, and then inside. And this was the goal that made us to reach this 7-goal difference that mentally was quite important for us, and to qualify for Final Four.
Beautiful. What kind of stories that this man has to tell when reminiscing about his old Champions League time. But let's not stick too much in the past, but bring it over to the current Machineseeker EHF Champions League action. We are midway through to the group stage already. It flew by, if you're asking me. So the first 7 matches are played on the men's side. And we are focusing on 2 or 3 teams today as well. And maybe we will be able to give some mid-season school grades to those teams here as well. And I want to start it off here with the dark horse of a given handball knowledge mister, of a given handball expert, Martin Wilstrup here. Because Martin, ahead of the season, you told us that PIK Szeged would be your dark horse of this year. And it doesn't look even too bad. A team that has beaten Magdeburg, Nantes, and now Kielce. They only lost by 1 goal in Aalborg and in Barcelona. It is still a surprise to most of the handball world that Szeged is performing on that level. But they always have been having their Champions League run ended in the playoff round throughout the last years. Is it a surprise to you at all, Victor, that Szeged is performing on that level?
I wouldn't say a surprise. Because they have an amazing squad. I would say probably they are on where they have to be, because they have an amazing squad. They have new arena. They have good supporters, especially at home, and I think they are capable to win those kind of games that they already won in this group phase. And they are capable. They have the squad to go to Barcelona and almost take the game, doing quite a bad game, because they played, in my opinion, quite a bad game, especially in the first half in Barcelona. But they are able to win against Kielce, to win against Magdeburg. So I wouldn't say it's a surprise. I would say finally PIK Szeged is where they belong, in my opinion.
Martin, what made you so confident about Szeged ahead of the season already?
I think, the previous years, they always been, to me, a team that probably didn't have the top level to compete whenever the best teams are performing at their level. But we've seen in the Hungarian derbies what they can do against Veszprem, and we know the strength of Veszprem. But I just think that some of the new players that they added to the squad this year was Tobias Thulin, who's around the Swedish national team and pushing on to maybe after Palika be number one. Then they brought in Janusz Smarsson, who played in Kronstadt before and Magdeburg, and Magnus Abelvik Rød, who normally I would say is a very good right back if he can stay fit and don't get any injuries, which been his story the last many years, sadly for him. And then they also brought in Lazar Kukic from Dinamo Bucharest. I just think in general they added, and to not forget, if I Jeremy Toto from Nantes also. There are some players that are interesting, and it looks like the group now is very open. We're having in mind that Magdeburg haven't performed the way that we wanted them to, or not that we wanted them to, the way that we expected them to. With Barcelona and Magdeburg would probably be the favorites before, but now it's super open with everyone beating everyone. We also saw Kronstadt beating Aalborg. So probably that's one of the main reasons for me to think that they added some players that whenever they hit the day, they can be a contender for it. But it's a dark horse, and let's see if they can keep up with it.
Yeah, and especially in the games against those big teams, Szeged always seems to be on spot. So they are always motivated, and they even took away some points from the big guys. So just losing by 1 against Barca, having a good game against Aalborg, beating Magdeburg, now beating Kielce. The goal is clear for Szeged, to conquer the Hungarian throne, to take it away off of Veszprem. Victor, do you think that this is possible at all? And if yes, how long will that take to even overtake Veszprem?
Well, I think they did it in Hungary in the past with Pastor. They won the league and they won a couple of cups, if I don't remember wrong. But still, the most stable team is Veszprem. I think Veszprem is still the team to beat. And as I said, now especially with the signing of the new coach in Veszprem with Xavi Pascual, I think they are even more strong now than in the past. And I think they have shown us how strong they are, or they can be, in the World Championship that they won in Cairo a few weeks ago, winning against Barcelona and against Magdeburg. But I think they have the squad and the potential to beat them. It's a team that in a double game they can win a draw against every team in the world. So it can happen. I think Veszprem is still the favorite in Hungary, but it could happen.
Martin, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree that Veszprem are the favorites. They were also last season, and they will be this season as well, because they have the better squad. But the beauty about the handball is that sometimes it's not always the favorites. And in this, whenever we speak about this, Veszprem is the name that comes up a lot. And I mean, just in general, I think Szeged, if they have won against Kolstad, then I would say that they've had a good season so far, losing with 1 goal, as you said, to Barcelona. They lost with 1 goal to Aalborg, where Frimmel, he missed a penalty. I think there were 2 or 3 seconds left. And I think Mikael Appelgren has been doing a great job, and also he's been a hot topic in terms of becoming the Swedish national coach. And we also have a little bit of a tall wing player, or former tall wing player, Jonas Kellman, who also is in the as a coach down there. I think it's a good thing going on with Szeged, but Veszprem will be the favorites as long as Veszprem keep getting new players, and we will probably speak about that in terms of also getting new players. They recently just got a new one to the squad as well. So
we will come back to that in a second. Just don't take away all the topics yet. But talking about the new coaches, Michael Appelgren and Jonas Kellman, how much of the success goes back to them? So how much do they earn from the success that Szeged has in the first half of the season?
To me, I think some of the success will be towards Appelgren. It's not like it's unknown territory. Oh, I cannot even say that in a word now. But it's not like he haven't been head coach before.
I would like to hear. Territory.
Territory.
Yeah, it's the Danes. They always speak with a potato in their mouth.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for the help, Victor. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. No, but I mean, he's been the coach of Elverum before also, whenever they played the Champions League, or also the assistant coach under Glenn Solberg from the national team of Sweden, if I remember correctly. So I think some of the credit can go to him, and that's also why he probably brought in some of the Scandinavian players with Abelvik Rød and Smarterson and Thulin, and, adding some Scandinavian blood to a team that were probably more Slovenian, Hungarian players the last previous years. I think a lot of it, and you can also see it by the playing style, that's probably more leaning towards, if you can say that's a Scandinavian playing style, then it's leaning too much towards that. And I think he's been doing a great job so far. Besides, losing at home to Kolstad, all the results has been very, very impressive.
And on a perfect day, is Szeged good enough to beat Barcelona, Mr. Barcelona?
Yes, I think so. They have two arms and 2 legs like Barcelona players. Yes, I think they can do it. Actually, I lost in Szeged playing court in the past. So yes, they have shown everybody what level they have. They have shown to Barcelona that even though they had a quite bad first half in Palau Blaugrana, they were able to fight back in the second half and almost take a point from Palau Blaugrana. So yes, why not? In sports, everything can happen, and in handball especially, we have witnessed crazy things.
Then let's see what this season is still holding in for Pick Szeged. It might end up being a little interesting, especially when we are looking forward into the direction of spring. But then let's see what the season is holding still for Veszprem here as well, because we have seen a returner. Martin, you teased us already a little bit. Aron Pálmarsson is back in Veszprem after leaving in 2017. Is Pálmarsson just a replacement for the injured, the ligament injured Yahia Eldera, or is he even more than that, Martin?
I think he's for the moment just a replacement for Eldera but him as a person, as a player, is an unbelievable player. And just looking at the clubs he's been playing for, he has been playing for Veszprem before, but let's have in mind the way that he changed club from Veszprem was, I would say it's the word a little bit different than how you do it normally, the correct word. And I thought that when he went to Iceland now to be more with his family and spend time with his daughter, that maybe his time was over, playing the big competitions. I know that he won the Icelandic championships but it's a little bit surprise to me, but I think it has something to do with Pascual and him being with Pascual knows him from Barcelona and getting to play with Sendrić and all the other players. And maybe he's not that done, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Veszprem make it to the Final Four, that Pálmarsson do some of the magic that he can do, because from whenever he hits the top level, he's an amazing player.
Yeah, and I mean, you're bringing up all the names here already, with Xavi Pascual as the coach, Laszlo Nagy as the sports director, we have Luka Sindric, we have now Pálmarsson. Well, I mean, have they called you already, Victor, to bring the boys back together, or what's the plan in Barcelona East there?
Yeah, I wish they would call me, to live again these experiences, to be in the playing court in full arena with the adrenaline, going out of my ears. That would be really nice, but yeah, maybe I have to check the signal of my phone, because the phone didn't ring,
Veszprem, are you listening? Victor Thomas is ready. He's waiting. Let's bring the boys back together.
And actually, with Marguc's injury, they have a spot there for me,
Well, who knows? Who knows what we can confirm in the next episode? So Victor Thomas is ready here. But let's stay a little bit with the returner, with Aron Pálmarsson, with the actual returner, because Victor, you never played for Veszprem, so you wouldn't be a returner there. But yeah, as a former teammate, what qualities does he add to the Veszprem squad that they have been missing, or that the team hasn't had yet?
For me, I will repeat a little bit what I said about signing Luka Sindric. It's another player that already knows the system of Xavi Pascual, and it's a player that it's maybe not as intense as Eldera is, but it's a player with some similarities. They can do the same things, Aron Pálmarsson, he can play in defense, in number 5, not in the center like Eldera can do, but then Aron, he can play in the center back, he can play in the left back, he can score, he can pass. So it's a player that can do similar things than Eldera, but already knows to perfection the system of Pascual. So I think that's why Veszprem took this decision.
And with that being said, Aron Pálmarsson definitely only makes this Veszprem squad even better than they already were. Martin, did they even overtake Barca in the top spot race for the Champions League favorites?
I think it's the short answer would be no. I don't think we can say it by now with Aron Palmason because we haven't seen him in action, and I'm looking forward to it because he's a super intelligent player, and as Victor said, he knows Pascual from former earlier years, and I also remember Palmason whenever he shoots. Some of the goals he makes is like they are highlight goals, YouTube goals, because he shoots so hard. And I mean, it's interesting to see what kind of role he will play for the Veszprem team because also from the Iceland national team, we've been seeing him playing less and less minutes, and maybe that suits his body better because he's also been struggling with injuries. And if that means that he can stay fit, then I think he's gonna, be a great add to the Veszprem team.
I would like to say one name in the Veszprem roster that maybe we don't put the focus on it, but I think we are seeing the best Rodrigo Corrales that we have seen in the last 5 years, maybe. He's in a percentage speaking at 33.1% of saves. It's number 2 in the race for with 70 saves. So I think that this player, it's really important at this moment for Veszprem. We can speak about a lot of players, but especially Rodrigo with the new staff, it's playing his best in the last 5 years, and in my opinion, one of the most responsible players of what Veszprem is doing, like winning the IHF Super Globe, it's Rodrigo Corrales.
Definitely one of the reasons why they are on top there. And I introduced it to you guys earlier. Let's give a mid-season grade to Veszprem. And what would you say from school grades, A to F, Martin?
Oh, A to F. They only lost to Sporting. They're number one, top of the group, the team that has scored the most goals. Let's just go with an A.
All right, I am joining you with an A there, but I'm going with an A minus because there was that little dent in their record. Victor, what do you say?
Yeah, I was thinking in A minus. I didn't expect them to. They can lose in Sporting, of course, but they cannot lose the way they did it. That's my opinion.
And we have been talking about Pick Szeged already. Then let's continue our school grades here. Martin, you can start again.
Szeged?
Yeah.
No. Losing to Aalborg, who you two guys said will win the Champions League, and then losing with 1 goal to Barcelona. That has to be, to me, also... losing to Costa, A minus.
Oh, well, Martin is throwing away the A's today. You would have been a very, very popular teacher out there. But no, talking about Pick Szeged, especially this season, they have to be in the top range, especially seeing where they are coming from. And yeah, for the mid-season, I would go with a solid A for them because that is everything that they are capable of doing and even more. Because who would have expected that they would have been this close to taking points away from Barcelona? And Barcelona is the key word for us to ask for Victor Thomas's grade for Pick Szeged.
I'm not happy to agree with Martin, but I agree with Martin. I think I would go with the A minus as well. It's an A, even though they lost some games, because from maybe what everybody expected from them in the beginning, I would go for an A. But this loss against Kolstad, for me, it's a game that they should have won.
Yeah, they should have, and it would have. Well, I'm just checking on the table here on the standings, and it would have brought them up to the second spot in their group, in Group B. They are just trailing behind HBC Nantes as of Thursday, so Nantes hasn't played their 7th game yet. Yeah,
this lost in my opinion and in my way of seeing things. It shows that this Szeged still, maybe they, of course, they are on the way to do it, but still they don't have this winner mentality. because for them, I think Kolstad was a team at the bottom of the group, and they have won against Nantes at home and against Magdeburg. So, in my opinion, it was a game that maybe mentally they didn't show up to the game the way they should.
On the other hand, that winner mentality is something that needs to grow over time. So that is nothing that just exists from one day to another just because you start to be on top of the table. So let's see where PIK Szeged is developing into. And let's see where the third team that we're having a look at today is developing into. We want to have a talk about Paris Saint-Germain here as well. Because after losing in the beginning of the season to Veszprem, PSG is now on an unbeaten run. So I think it's 6 games in a row that they have actually won. And they don't seem to stop for a bit. Were we, the three of us, too harsh on Paris in our opening episode, Martin?
Well, if you look at the results, then maybe yes. But I don't think they've been... the recent couple of games, they have been showing their capacity, but I think it's also... I don't think they have the deep roster, in general, because if I look at the goal scorers, it's still Brandy, it's still Subsak, and then also Luc Steins, and then it's not a guy that we speak a lot about, but I also think he's an amazing wing. Ferran Solé, he's also a goal scorer. And then Yahya Omar, but I think whenever they have to change players, Dani Bayens, Jakob Holm, but on the other hand, they're winning. So who am I to say that they're not performing as long as they're winning? But they lost against Veszprem, and Veszprem are one of the teams that we speak about, making it to the Final Four. And if we look at the other teams who's in the group of PSG, then you are the only one predicting Sporting will make it. They won against them, which is an impressive one. But then it's Ploch, Fredericia, Pelister, Fischer Berlin also been struggling with injuries to Gitzel and Lasse Andersson, which are key players. So to put it in perspective, then let's see whenever they play against Veszprem again how they will do there. But you cannot take away from them; they're winning, and that's what they need to be where they want to be.
Yeah, I need to correct myself here. It has been 5 victories in a row for Paris Saint-Germain. And, well, one really has to see that they are currently outscoring their opponents. So, just scored 40 goals, I think it was, against Füchse Berlin. They had an outing with 35 goals against Dinamo Bucuresti. They scored 38 goals against Fredericia. But then, their massive offense leads to a little bit of a wild ride in the defense. So can such a system survive a whole season where you basically need to score 35 plus goals each and every game to outscore your opponent?
We will see. I think the defensive system, they prefer defensive system is 6-0. And they have a wing player that it's playing in the center in position number 4 normally, which is Greville. And we could see last season quarterfinals against Barcelona that Greville was injured and Peleka was trying to do this role, but they were not confident enough, in my opinion, to make this 6-0. So I think it's dangerous, the organization, because when you depend on a wing player to defend 6-0, it's a little bit dangerous, So so far it's working, but they have to be very, very careful with the injuries. And again, it's a post-Olympic season, and the World Championship is coming in January. So we will see. We will see what the future holds for them. But if the injuries are respecting Paris, maybe we were too harsh on them.
But it's already something that we spoke about earlier, that Raúl González, he needs to figure out what to do in terms of he want to change some players with Greville and bringing in Luka Karabatic, Luc Steins, and his role in defense. But yeah, it's interesting what Victor said. Had the thought myself because we're seeing a lot of injuries, and with the Olympic year, and also on the women's side, the European Championship coming up, on the men's side, the World Championship, and it's not like, I don't think many of the players even had, the one who changed club, if they even went home before they went to the new club. So, they just keep on going, and eventually it's going to be too much, and maybe that's why we see a lot of injuries, but we hope that everyone will stay fit. But the workload is big, and I guess that's how it is being a pro handball player.
Yeah, and I mean, talking about a dangerous defense situation, but a dangerous offense situation here as well, but dangerous here in a very, very positive manner. Luke Steins, Elohim Prondi, Kamil Shepshak, Yahia Omar, Ferran Solesala. Out of these names, 3 out of them are in the top 6 of the top scorers of the Machineseeker EHF Champions League at the minute. Can they keep up the level throughout the entire season, or will the bones get heavy at some point? Martin, what do you think?
Luke Steins once again is number 1 on the top of the assist list, and I also think Prandi is number 2. So it just shows that it's super important that they are fit, and yeah, I think they can keep up the level that they've been, as long as Yahia Omar and Solé, Sipsak, and especially also Prandi. I think, the level he's been showing from the European Championship last year, also with France, I think he's been developing his game, and it's been, also he's not only about, having a strong shot from the distance, but he is also making good decisions, and let's see, they play against Sporting away next time. It's going to be a tough one, playing in Portugal against Spain. So let's see after that one if they can keep it up. But at the moment, it looks like.
We'll see. Mid-season grade for Paris. Let's do it quickly here. Victor, this time you can start.
I would say B+.
A B+.
B+, because maybe I wasn't expecting them to win, especially in Plock or in Berlin, but they did it. But the way they lost, it's not A, because the way they lost against Veszprem, I think it's not the way they should have lost in Hungary.
Martin, how about you?
Victor has a good point with the way that you lose some games, but in order for me, I'm gonna sound boring because now I have 2 options. I can agree with Victor. I can say A- again, and I'm gonna.
Both are boring.
I would rather be boring by saying A- than agreeing with Victor.
Yeah, fair enough.
I like that.
I would go with Victor, though, going for a B+ here, because the defense seems to be a little bit too unstable and too dangerous, how Victor put it. And the offense is working perfectly fine. But as soon as they faced a bigger opponent, they were smashed away, and that's why I would say, in the easier group, they are performing. That's why I'm only going down to a B+, but still with the potential to develop, because I do see that in Paris. Martin, you want to say something?
And with having that loss in mind, it's also funny to see that they won 6 games, but they only have a goal difference on 5, plus. And that's not that often you see that, with only losing 1, that it's only +5. And they at the moment they have the second weakest defense after Federico will play against Pellister the day that we are recording. So there are some good points. Let's see if they can keep it up whenever they play against Sporting.
All right, I'm having a scenario for you guys. It's the quarterfinal in the Champions League, men's or women's side. Your team is trailing by 1. Only a goal can bring you back and can bring you into the extra time. 2 seconds on the clock. Whistle by the referee. 7-meter penalty. You can choose any player in the world. Who would you want to take it?
I don't even have to think about it.
All right, then Martin has some time to think, and Victor can give us the answer straight away out of the pistol.
It's so clear, and if you two don't choose the same player as me, that means you don't know anything about handball.
Let me guess.
He needs to be active, though. He needs to. I know what Victor is saying. I know what.
Actually, I have 2 names. I'm gonna go with Aleix Gomez, but
Surprise.
But Melvin Richardson is the next one.
Fair enough. Martin, you have a name in mind already, or shall I agree with Victor already?
No, you can go.
All right. Well, because I've written down anyone from Barcelona, because as of now, just how they are performing, it is insane from the line. Whether it's Aleix Gomez or Melvin Richardson, I've looked up the stats. They are at 93% right now, so they only missed one penalty throughout the first 7 matches of the Machineseeker EHF Champions League.
You mean together?
Yeah. Both of them together. And that is just completely insane. And I do have the feeling that whenever both of them are out, the next player would score each and every penalty that he has taken as well. So Barcelona is my answer.
So all of this to say that you agree with me.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
But the stats are backing you.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to say Mikkel Hansen, but as long as he needs to be active, then fair enough. For the good chemistry between us, I will agree with Victor.
Okay. Don't be afraid to say
right.
it. Just say it again. Say it again. We need to understand. Say it loud and clear. I agree with
I will
Victor.
choose. But I actually do. I actually do this time. I actually agree with Victor.
Another great option would have or could have been Diona Hauser here because she as well in the Women's Champions League right now is spot on when it comes down to the line. Went for 14 out of 15 penalties, having a percentage of 93% just by herself as well. And Sarah Buktit is always a great option too. And you guys are hearing it already. That brings us over to the EHF Champions League Women. And let's start it off here with the French supremacy on the women's side of the Champions League. Because Metz is the only team left unbeaten after 6 matches. They just beat Chesame and secured the top spot in Group A here. Consistency and mental strength as the key to success for Metz? ?
Yeah, well, consistency is always a good thing to have. To be honest, I was a little bit worried before the season with Metz because they lost Sarko in goal, they lost Lucy Burgård, Christina Jørgensen, Alina Greisels. They lost a couple of great players, and I was a little okay. Where does this actually leave Metz? And it's no secret that they want to play the fast handball with being good in defense and having Valentini and Gloser to run the counterattacks, but they look good, and some of the players that they brought in, we spoke about Dalot earlier. It's I don't know if maybe she is in general a fan favorite, but she's doing a great job at the moment in Metz, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, on the other side, with Sarah Buktit, they are perfectly fine on the line there as well. She went for 31 goals at the beginning of the season. Victor, is she on her way to become the best line player in the world, or is she already there?
In my opinion, in my eyes, she is the number one at this moment. She is an important player in defense. She is a super important player in the transition defense attack in the fast break, and she is a super important player in attack. So in my opinion, she is the number one.
Yeah, and just one part of the chain there that Metz is building up out of young players here as well, because they have Buktit, Petra Varmus, Tyra Axner, Lucy Grenier. Martin, is there a golden Metz generation incoming, or how long can they hold those young and ambitious players?
Well, if they can keep on holding, if they stay at Metz, then probably there is. But it seems like whenever players performing for Metz or some other club, then they have a tendency to leave the club for a bigger one. In this case, it's primarily Gjør, and so it's depending on whether they can keep them, because Taya Aksner, she didn't play that much in Denmark, and now she changed, and maybe she also changed because it will help her personally, and she's also, actually her career is going in the right direction. Moving to Metz is a step up, and then maybe she can learn a bit or one thing or two from Alison Pinot, the former best player in the world. So golden dress, I don't know, to be fair to say. Maybe, but it depends on if they stay at Metz or not. The tendency says that they won't. Only thing I have to say about Sarah Buksit is that I think sometimes she misses too many shots, but it's also have maybe something to do with that she's playing all the minutes there is and never has a break, But of course, she's a world-class line player.
I would like to remark one name in this team, and that's the coach. That's Manu Mojanat. I think it's a coach that it's always taking the best out of the team that he has, and even though Metz, it's a top team, one team that always it's there. We always speak about Metz. It's a team that a lot of young players go there to develop and go to another team afterwards. And the way they work with the young players, and shout out to Manu Mojanat on that. It's just amazing.
Still, the matches remain
and
rather...
I have to say one thing. Sorry for interrupting here, Bengt. I think I said Glosser earlier.
He says no with his he says no with his head, but inside he's saying a lot of things to you now.
But the thing we also have to mention when we speak about Metz, the president of the club, this Tarier Weissman, I think is the right name, who also joined us at the media day in our studio and always wanted to join us, and I just think he's a nice character, and I also think he's on the bench sometimes whenever they play, if I remember correctly. He's just super likable, and it's a funny side story to the Metz history, and also the way that Victor just said, the way that he was like, if they can get a medal, he's super satisfied. That also says that they know that there are bigger clubs in the world that can, at some point pick their best players, so they need to all the time bring in new players, the next upcoming ones.
Yeah, and I mean, for now we do see that Metz is still unbeaten and that they are for sure then on top of the table. Still, the matches remain rather tight, so Cesime Bucuresti was just shy of stealing the first 2 points off of Metz, but Metz remained cool, and they ended up taking away those points out of Romania here as well. So let's see whether they can keep up that level throughout the entire season, or whether they are going to drop some points here in the group stage as well. But the road to Budapest, it seems to be set for the French queens as of now. But there are some other French girls that are trying to take away that spot off of Metz, because Brest is looking just as sharp. It is the French supremacy in the EHF Champions League women. Brest won 5 out of 6 matches so far, and they can finally rely on Anna Vyakireva as well. With Vyakireva in it, then you have Juliette Farr, you have Clarisse Mairo, Christina Novak. How do you rate the backcourt of Brest in comparison to the other top teams of the EHF Champions League women?
No, I just thought about it when you asked the question, and my answer is going to sound weird because I don't think in general that the backcourt players for Brest is, top. Vakiev is obviously a top player, but, Clarisse Mairo, who's been, playing very well this season, let's see if I pronounce it correctly, but in
French, never. In French, if you're not French, that's
and
impossible.
In French, never. Sorry for the Scandinavian French here. Mairo. I just think in general, I was about to say that I don't think if you see at the names that it's a top, but they're performing super top. So it's not only about the names, it just shows that how do they play together and how is the chemistry within the players. And it seems like Brest is doing a great job here. And it's impressive.
Yeah, and just drop the name Vyakireva here as well. She's just starting to perform in Brest finally as well. So just had an 11-goal outing, bringing her to 23 goals right now. Does she complete Brest to be a full title contender this year, Victor?
That's a tricky one. I'm not sure. Actually. They are actually performing better than I expected. It was a lot of changes, and a player like Vyakireva, as I said, she is top. Maybe not the best because we have Henni Reistad, which is super top, but Vyakireva is one of the best players in the last 10 years or more. But it's a player that she needs to have the ball a lot of time in her hands to give the best to the team. So I expected a little bit more time to adapt the playing style to her. But actually, they are playing really good. They are performing good, and they are having results. But still, they have to show consistency. So we are, some games away of having the winter break.
Yeah.
But they are quite consistent, and they are leading their group. So I still wouldn't say they are one of the strongest contenders for the title, but they can be.
I think I also predicted them to make it to the EHF Final Four. I think they will be up there and a contender. I mean, they also have Kristina Novak, who's a national player of Norway. And speaking about good line players, they have Foppa also, Pauletta Foppa on the line, which is also. But it also has something to do with that they had a lot of goalkeeper saves throughout the season. And we know how important saves are in handball, and yeah, I think they've been performing very well. They beat Esbjerg with 1 goal at home. They only lost against Györ, they lost with 1 goal. It seems like every time Brest play against Györ, it's always a tight game. And they also gave Vipers, if I remember correctly, a struggle last season in the knockout stage. And I think they've been putting a little bit more into the team that they had last year. So why not? If they are a contender, I need to say they are if I predict them to be at the EHF Final Four. So in some way they are. But I see a lot of good teams with Brest, Esbjerg, Györ, Metz, and also FTC.
We'll see.
And Chesem Bucharesti.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a strong game that Bucharesti just had here against Metz. But yeah, just one last topic for the EHF Champions League women here. Victor, you have just been naming Brest a consistent leader. And consistent and leading, that brings me over to Henni Reistad, because she is putting up some ridiculous numbers. It's been 6 games now. She's got 61 goals. The top scorer crown probably won't be taken away from her anymore. But she might even fight for the all-time record. That is being held by Natalia Morskova with 150 goals in the 1996-97 season. Well, let's ask our fellow Scandinavian guy, is that record unstable as of now?
If she can keep it up, it's going to be in danger. But I can just say that yesterday they also played a cup game against Ikast where Esbjerg won with, I don't know if it was more than 10 goals. And she scored 11 goals on 11 attempts and had 10 assists. So she was involved in 21 goals. And I mean, she's just completely out of this world. She's the best player in the world. 150. How many did she make last season? I don't remember. So
I think it was in the 110 area. It was 115 or something in that direction.
Then probably not, because eventually the other teams will also have to, But the funny thing is that everyone watch video on Henni Reistad, but she keeps on doing what she do, and she's We just have to appreciate it, that we have a player like her.
If she stays fit throughout the season, she will be over the 165 goals this season.
165, that's what you say?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That would be something. And that almost sounds like the next record.
But my explanation to that, it's because with pregnancy of Nora Morg, which we congratulate
penalties.
From here. She's going to be a shooting machine even more. She's going to feel the responsibility.
And she's taking penalties also in the Danish league at the moment. So So
I think that if she is able to stay fit throughout the season, she's going to be over 165 goals.
And additionally to that, she's already on 44 assists here as well. So it looks like the World Player of the Year will be there won't be any question on who that will be on the women's side here. But yeah, it is absolutely insane what Henni Reistad is playing this year. Let's see where she can take Esbjerg throughout the entire season. It will be interesting, and it is interesting already here halfway through the EHF Champions League group stage on the men's and on the women's side. So that will be a super cool second half of the season, which I'm looking forward to, and I'm looking forward to talk about it with you guys as well. And that's where I would say thanks for tuning in. Thanks, boys, for the time that you sacrificed for us. And let's hear each other again the next time when it's time to talk handball again.
Ball across to Dylan Nahi, double in flight. Oh, what a start!
Into the net.
She does it again. Yes.
Van Dijvenberg on the